Hi, welcome to episode 38 of the Austin Downbeat. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and almost Happy New Year. Guys, it's been a great year. Thank you so much to all the guests that have joined me. Here we are, 38 episodes in, and lots more to come as the year ends and next year. I'm very excited for what we have in store. Let's get to the rundown, and then I will introduce our guests tonight. So this covers the 27th, which is Tuesday of December, all the way to through Christmas or through New Year's Eve. Not a ton of people playing because it's the holidays, but here we go. On the 27th, Tuesday, you have Carolyn Wonderland playing at the Continental Club. Monday, you have Bob Schneider doing his residency and Monday night gig at the Saxon Pub. Tuesday, the 29th, you have Barbara Nesbitt at Continental Club. On the 30th, you have my pal, Ray Prim. He's so great at Central Machine Works. That's a free show. Please go out and see him. He is fantastic. Also, the same night, Shiny Ribs, we love him too. And he's at ACL Moody Theater. And on New Year's Eve, Bob Schneider, again, he's doing his great big spectacular New Year's Eve party, and he has Primo the Alien and Big Skinny also accompanying him at the Paramount Theater. So that's going to be a great show. And Moving Panoramas is also playing at Hotel Vegas there on New Year's Eve. Be sure to check out Bands in Town for your latest listing of who's playing in Austin and everywhere, actually. So that does it for the rundown. My guest today is 2/3 of a new band, who is making incredible waves in the post-punk scene called Dragon Rapid. I sit down with Daniel and Dany J and their manager, Harvey Lee, and have a good chat with them. I had the privilege of sitting down with them about almost a year ago, pre all of this, pre me launching the show, pre them really coming onto the scene. I think they were just in the middle of writing their first song, and I was really excited to kind of watch them from this entire from that point up until where they are now. And I have to say, this isn't the normal pattern, I guess, of a band where you sort of make waves really quickly, but they sure have. And if you get a chance to see them, please check them out. Dragon Rapid, I promise you, if you don't know what post-punk is, you probably like it. And they talk a little bit about that. So please enjoy my conversation with Dragon Rapid. I love these guys. They are doing amazing things. They're doing great things, and they're doing them pretty quickly, and they're doing them right. So they're so much fun to watch and so much fun to listen to. And on top of that, they happen to be really, really good. So enjoy my conversation with my pals, Dragon Rapid. We are ready to go. I am so happy. It has taken a long time, but it's taken the right amount of time to introduce Dragon Rapid to the show. Welcome.
Thank you. We're
Hello, thank
really
you.
excited to be here finally.
I know. So I love to kind of give people a little bit of, like, if they deserve a little bit of history, we can give them a little bit of history. But, I think it's important to kind of mention I've been waiting and waiting and waiting for this moment to come. And it has been I don't think I've enjoyed waiting this much in a while for something. And what I mean by that is because I have known for so long that you guys have existed. And that's why I think it's so I'm really looking forward to talking to you today, because I'm catching you, and we're all kind of catching you at such an interesting time and a delicious time in the journey of what it is to be a band and to create something. And I just have to say, congratulations to the firestorm that you've sort of started, whether you really meant to at this time or not. I'm kind of sitting back here just going, holy shit, like, they're doing it. They are doing the thing. So how does it feel?
It's I guess you couldn't have put it better. It's been such a journey.
Yeah.
And it's been a journey that even for us it's very surprising. We didn't expect this response. It started with the most minimal idea, and then less than a year we actually made it something. And wow, we're here, we're stepping in. There's still a lot of work, there's still a lot of things that as a band we need to, and we're coming, to a better understanding of what our sound really is. And it's been
Yeah, I think when we bumped into you that one time over at Zero, we were telling you that we started a band and we're working on one song.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
literally, that's how it was.
Yeah. So that was probably, I think I was in pre-launch for this show. I was doing a ton of interviews, but I hadn't launched this one yet. And so it wasn't quite a year ago, but it feels close to that. And I could just feel, you know, Dan, I knew you and I've met you, but Dany, I didn't know you. And so it was really kind of cool for me to just go like, who's this chick? What's she about? And I could feel it right when we had lunch. Like I could just feel like this is something really special. And I was like, whenever you guys are ready, you just come on. And I'm so happy to have you on. And I think we waited the right amount of time because now we certainly have some things to discuss. I want to make sure we're introducing Harvey Lee, your manager, who's sitting with you, who's helping you do all the things that it takes to do what you're doing. So welcome, Harvey Lee.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. So let's talk a little bit about it. Kind of want to maybe work a little bit chronologically because one of the valuable things about talking to you is the fact that we are catching you kind of still at the beginning, with the icing of having made some kind of unexpected waves and setting an expectation of maybe just doing a little bit this year and instead doing a lot in the last, well, I mean, in the last month, I think is even fair to say.
Yeah.
So I think it's really valuable for people watching and listening to be like, okay, maybe this isn't how it always goes for everybody that's just starting out. But back then, when I talked to you almost a year ago, talk a little bit about the difference, the space between then and now. What have you learned? What is, what's going well and what's still kind of challenging? Because there's a whole artistic side to being a musician and having a band, but there's also a very logistical side. And that probably sucks. And that's why you have Harvey Lee.
Exactly.
But talk a little bit about the space between then and now and, what you've learned and that growth. Because I feel like you had to grow real quick.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll go first. So it started off like this. We had no idea what we were doing at all. This was a conversation. Dany and I became friends at work. We're both pedicabbers downtown. And for those watching who doesn't know what a pedicab is, it's basically like a bicycle taxi that's a tricycle with a hybrid electric engine, and you ride around as a chauffeur at different events and Saturday nights, weekend evenings, and you hustle your way for tips, and it's how we earn a living. And we had that similar schedule. We became work friends. She was the new girl at the shop. We both ride out of the APC shop, and then everyone was like, "Who is this Dany J person?" And I started talking to her, and we kind of gravitated toward each other quickly. We had a lot in common. She's from Mexico, and I've been in the process of learning Spanish for a while, ever since finding out that all of my heritage was from Spain after taking a 23andMe test and meeting my new family 5 years ago. That's going to be a different show, though.
I know that story.
Yeah. And just getting together and being at first, work friends, but then the conversation going toward a music thing. And because I was taking these Spanish lessons on Duolingo, I'm getting down the grammar, but I'm not in any situation where I'm speaking Spanish. And I had this crazy idea because I used to play music. I used to play guitar in a band many years ago. I had this idea of, well, first I need to ask her if she can sing. And if the answer is yes, we can learn 3 songs on the acoustic and play an open mic one day if we make it big, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I asked her, I just said one day and during a conversation, because I knew I didn't know exactly what she was into musically, but I knew she was into something cool. She had her Judas Priest shirt on with the razor blade on it and had this rocker look. And we ended up having coffee one day, and that's when I asked if she could sing. We were having coffee for a completely different reason, whole other work thing we were talking about. And we got this idea, and she said, she paused and goes, yeah. And then I asked the follow-up question. I said, have you ever sang before? I'm still waiting for her to answer that. And she came over to my place, and I had this song worked up by a band called Bomba Stereo from Colombia. And I had this acoustic version of it. I had the lyrics all typed out, and we jammed it for like 40 minutes, and it went all right. We made a little recording of it, and I'm gonna let you take it from there.
Yeah. And then so we record the song, and I'm like, yeah, cool. I mean, it sounds nice, like I like it. But just as I was leaving, I was like, let me just show you what I've been into for the last 3 years, right? And boom, I played some post-punk for him. I remember I chose, I was like, this guy is a punk guy, that's what he's into. So I'm gonna have to introduce him to post-punk the proper way, right? Because like not a lot of people love it at first, not a lot of people do, but it's like it's very, it has a lot of different levels, I guess you could say, post-punk. So I started off with some Soviet. The song was 1990, and it's a little fast. It's it goes straight to the point, and he's like, well, what is this? And I'm like, this, sir, is post-punk. He's like, Dany, I like this. I mean, I used to write stuff like this. I can totally write stuff like this. I was like, well, if you can, then let's see what we can do. And boom, that the idea was born right there. And from where we started to where we are right now, of course, there's been a major process, and trying to really get it. Our first 3 songs, are very, we put the punk in the post, and it was like we just started very punk, right? And I was still trying to find my voice, and I've never really sang before, I just in the shower perhaps, and I was like, I probably can do this live. Well, whatever, no? And so it's been a journey, because it's been not hard, but it's been a journey where I needed, and I found my voice, and I found what I was comfortable with. And the first 3 songs is like you could hear the difference. Dan wrote them, and I was trying to sing what he wrote, and I was like, okay, I'm trying, but I don't feel fully comfortable. And then the rest of the EP, which is Tirada, Stands, that's where boom, I bring more of what I do want for our band, our sound, darker sound. My voice is low, and so that's been a journey, and we're still on that journey and working.
I just got the chills while you were talking, because that's exactly what I was thinking today, listening to, because I have been listening to you since you've been starting to make music. I have heard it while it's happening, and you are absolutely correct. It's almost like, well, you've been discovering minute by minute yourself as it's like you're in the plane, learning how to fly the plane 30,000 foot in the sky, and you have recordings of it.
It's literally that.
It's the black box. Your next EP needs to be called Black Box, because it is, you know what I mean? Like, it is the recording of you finding yourself. She just answered the question, by the way, for you. No, she's never sung before.
Exactly.
I did take note to that. I didn't want to interrupt. Plus, I'm not as chatty as I can be today. My voice is a little hoarse. The other thing that I found to be remarkable working with Dany is she just has a lot of light in her and a lot of energetic visionary just emanates and basically she's one of those people that says she decides she wants to do something. It doesn't matter if she had previous experience or not. And I can relate that to that kind of mindset too. Like I have no idea what I'm doing it. You know, remember when I used to make those yoga videos and edit them and put them on YouTube? I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm doing it anyway.
Yes.
So she says, I'm gonna sing and I need to play an instrument. And I said, really? Good. You're gonna play bass. Take it from there. Talk about getting started playing the bass.
Did you know how to play the bass?
No, not
Oh
at
my
all.
God. I love you guys even more. I didn't know if that was possible, but this is so my style. Like same with my show, with this show. I left another show and I was like, I think I might want to start my own show. How do you do that? All right, let's think about it for a couple weeks and then let's just do it because why not? Like what can go wrong? It's your thing. So I am 100% in support with how you guys are doing this because the good news is that you don't suck. Like, in fact, you are amazing. And I'm going to jump ahead a little bit because I was listening to New Dawn Fades today. I listened to it a couple times today in my car with awesome sound, really loud, the way that I like to listen to stuff. And I had this vision, the coolest vision where it's like dark, live show, smoke, just really cool lighting, and you guys are coming back for an encore. And I know, Dany, you probably play bass on this song, but like, let's just get a bass player to be on there, and like, you don't come on stage because you know it's like it's all instrumental.
It's an intro.
I love it, love it, love it, and then it just builds and builds and builds and builds and builds, and like you don't show up on stage for that encore until you have to start singing, and the whole audience is just going crazy balls, and everyone's just like, you know, as it just built. I mean, how do you I get so excited when I listen to stuff like that because music is so important to me and I feel it and I know what you guys are trying to accomplish and you are, but like how do you write something? It's so New Dawn Fades is so good. It's so good.
Well, New
I
Dawn
don't even
Fades.
know what my question is. Just talk about that song because it's just so. Just talk about it. I don't even have a question.
Well, one thing that needs to be noted is that New Dawn Fades is not an original song by us. It was originally written by Peter Hook and the band Joy Division.
Yes.
So this was our reimagination of it. Yes, we did rewrite some aspects of it,
Yeah.
but in a sense, and we never talked about wanting to play covers or anything like that.
Yeah.
But when we were getting our inspiration, making our other songs, Dany would just start playing New Dawn Fades on her bass, just in between whatever it was I was working on, and asking her what it was. And she would remind me it was this Joy Division song. And I said, you know, you really like that song. Great. I'm going to listen to it and I'm going to take it as an influence. I'm going to write something just like it. And then what happened?
And then, well, I mean, it took several different takes. It took, you know, he rewrote part of the guitar, which he did a masterpiece of it, to be honest. Like New Dawn Fades, it's a special song for me. I really connect to it in a very
it had to be New Dawn Fades. She wouldn't let me write a song with that vibe. And she says, no, it has to be New Dawn Fades. It really speaks to me. It really represents me. So, and it was very challenging. If any of you watching thinks that there was some sort of shortcut by playing a song that was imagining a song that was previously written, not at all. That was one of the steepest hills to climb because there was a lot of concern putting that together because of our love and respect for Ian Curtis, his memory, and the band Joy Division, not to screw it up. It's like here, you know, what I'm pointing to right now is it's a point of light. It's a green dot way out in the distance. Okay. You see it, Kat?
Mhm.
Say yes.
Yes.
And between here, that green dot is giving justice to this song, this classic song.
Yeah.
And every step along the way from here to that point off in the distance is an opportunity to what? To screw it up,
Mhm.
or somehow defame, or you know
Yeah.
just to ruin it, and to get the feedback that we've gotten, that
So good.
it's so validating. And to even have Peter Hook himself like some of our content on our
Yeah.
page. I mean, I'm not saying he's our homie or anything, but the fact that our main inspiration, Joy Division, is aware of Dragon Rapid on any level is
Insane.
it's unreal.
I remember
Indescribable.
when you got that bit of love from him, and I was like, what is happening? Like, okay. And they
It,
said they were going to do this. I guess they really, really mean it. Like, they really, really mean it. It's one of the other things that I really love about you guys is that just the level of conviction. Talk a little bit about what it takes to do this and to do it that in a way that produces results, and how do you balance that, because it is a creative endeavor, it is part of your flesh and who you are. There's, I would imagine, a real balance. How do you balance all of that out?
I really think and know, and I can say by experience now, it takes a lot of commitment, first of all, right? And there's a very fine line between wanting to do something and actually doing it.
Yeah.
And we can always have a million ideas or dreams, but they just stay there as dreams or as ideas, and we never really commit to actually doing it. And for me, my push was obviously Dan, because a person that could believe in me without me having an actual background on saying, hey, look, I can do this and that. It was the push for me, because I've always, to be honest, I've always felt like a rock star. I've always felt that. But in my own little world, right?
I love
And
that.
so to see somebody that saw that in me without me telling him about it. I've always been really into music. I'm an only child, so I grew up with music, you know. So it's like I know my taste, I know what I like, and I've always been inclined into that rock scene, but just never really did anything about it until now. And it's been crazy to try to find my voice while I'm trying to figuring out the bass, and it's two different things. It's like rubbing your stomach and hitting your head.
Yeah.
And it's like it's been insane, and it's been there's still a lot I need to do, and I'm doing it, but it's been a struggle.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, let's bring it down to like really kind of paint the walls. What's a typical day like for you, Dany, and for you, Dan? And what are the challenges right now? Like what do you know, what do you know you need to get better at?
Well, I always think that because I hadn't played live or anything in many, many years, and Dany, has only played a handful of shows total in her life, that we could always stand to rehearse more and get it down. Because the one thing that, when you're inexperienced, it's one thing to jam in the living room or jam down at Space ATX, where we rent some time there, to play 5 different venues in 2 months, and each of them have a completely different setup. And there's some nights, there's like little cues in our backing tracking that might not be there for you in other, just getting used to different rooms. That's something different. Just experience, just keep doing it. I like to keep us busy. I like to keep things on the calendar, whether it be now participating in press or podcasts, or just setting up shows, because I had noticed that the more I book shows, the more all of us are rehearsing, and not just like 2 of us.
Yeah, we should say that Jenner does your synths and samples, and he's not here with us. So you do have a third member that's consistent in your group.
Well, now would be a good time to talk about, one of the reasons why they are so good on their schedules is because they're all pedicabbers, right? And
Yeah.
dinner is a huge part of this, why they're able to be on the same schedule. You guys want to talk more about that?
Yeah. So also Jenner, for our luck, he's also a pedicab, and
That's awesome.
that's super awesome because exactly like Harvey's saying, we all have the same schedules, and Jenner had been following us since we started with the idea, and Jenner has a solo project that's called Neon, and so he's awesome at what he does. He's very set on his sound. He's very industrial. It's a very different sound, but he's just a master on the synths and all that stuff that we were missing as a post-punk band. Because again, we were just bringing the punk to the post, and we needed to level that, right?
Right.
So that's how what Jenner, came to be to the band, and that was like what kind of just helped us balance everything because him being a pedicab, us having the same schedule, having the same availability, the days, and it's just everything just kind of just puzzled in together. And now this is where we are at. And, we couldn't have done that without Jenner, actually. Live shows couldn't have happened without him.
Yeah, it kind of feels like he's the glue in a way that really kind of fills in those cracks, lets you guys sort of do your thing.
Exactly.
He really is. To expand on what Jenner and Nemeon brings to Dragon Rapid. Basically, Dany and I, we were able to produce these songs like anyone can with technology using Logic on the iMac and produce these songs. We would track them, arrange them, write the lyrics, and do these things, and then send them off to be mixed and mastered and release them to Spotify. When really it's like, but do you have a band yet? It's like we're doing this thing, but it was like first we were just like making music. But as these songs started to get around, people started to look at us and say, hey, this is great. So when's the next show? As if we were going to say, oh, funny you should say that. It's this Friday. And meanwhile, we weren't even close to in the realm of being ready. We, nearly are guilty of putting the cart before the horse, having music for people to listen to, but not a full band to showcase it.
Right.
So, to a stroke of luck, a really good promoter in San Antonio who puts on shows at Paper Tiger found our songs, and same thing. He saw us at the Molchat Doma show here at Empire downtown last April, and he recognized us from the internet, from Instagram, and we're just like pre-gaming this concert that we wanted to go to, and we just heard his voice go, Dragon Rapid, and it was like we just froze because you're not really supposed to know who we are yet, and we turn around and it's this guy named Alberto. He's super cool. And he's like, when are you coming to San Antonio? And Dany and I just look at each other like, whoa, we need to figure out how to take what we've done in the Dragon Dungeon. By the way, this is the Dragon Dungeon. If you want a wider tour, let me know later. And that's when we were like, okay, it's getting real now. This is for keeps. There's actually demand for us to play live, and it was almost an ominous. It was almost like if we don't provide it in a window of time, we're kind of afraid the invitation might go away and we might just get called the laptop band. It's not real. So we knew that Jenner knew how to program samples and percussion because he's a one-man artist with Nemeon. And I approached him one day pedicabbing and said, hey, Jenner, we're doing this Dragon Rapid thing, right? He's like, yeah, and I was like, we want to play live and we're not sure how to get there from here. We have the guitar and the bass and the singing down. Can you help us get it live? And he said yes. And he committed fully to even outside of his full-time Nemeon project, much respect and much gratitude to Jenner for not just, kind of saying, oh yeah, I'll help you out for a show or two, but really diving in and believing in our songs. Even though he's a one-man songwriter, he doesn't need to be in someone else's band. So for us having him share his talent and his skill, what he brings with us, is reinforcement that we must be doing something right, because this guy is a pro and he wouldn't waste his time with us if there wasn't something of value there. So
Yeah.
it feels a lot. You asked how it felt, like what a day is like. It feels like a lot of responsibility. I can't say that days are always in the comfort zone, because I'm always seem to be, and maybe too much so, preoccupied with what we're not doing, what we need to do more of. Like, we need more songs. We need to book a tour, because we're in a scene with a few other bands that started not more than a year or two at the most before us, that are out there touring already, and the FOMO hits in, or the fear that we're not keeping up. And not that we're in this competition with the other two bands of prominence. I'll say who they are right now. Haunt Me. Okay, you should look into them, bring them on your podcast. And this other band you might have heard of.
What are they called?
The Heat.
Suburban.
And obviously we watched your episode with Jonathan Horseman, and that was
they're great
interview. So yeah, Urban Heat, and that was the show that they sold out for us 2 Fridays ago. We got to open for them to a packed house at Hotel Vegas.
How did that feel?
Cozy. It was very cozy. I think out of all of our shows, it was the one that I felt the coziest, right?
As opposed to tell her how Paper Tiger felt for the first time.
Well, we were we were nervous about Paper Tiger. Of course, it's a really big venue, but it was the first show away from home.
Yeah.
And obviously with all of our shows over here, our pedicab buddies, our friends, they all are there. So we always have we feel the support. We have the support, right? Yeah. So we were like, okay, this is first time in San Antonio. Maybe none of our friends are gonna be there. So it's just like, here we go, right? And I mean, it was beautiful. The response we got out of everybody was just like, encore. I'm like, what do we do?
We don't have any songs.
We don't have. Do I dance? Play something? I'll dance. Almost like that, but it was impressive.
Yeah, in Austin, we call it Dragon Crew. Our friends, because many of our friends have the same pedicab schedule too. Yeah. So we just kind of hashtag it like Motley Crue. The CRUE, and
I love that.
But when we play away San Antonio, the place was packed, but fewer members of Dragon Crew. It's not that they weren't there, but not like they are in Austin. And it was like, this isn't our audience, and are they gonna be cool with these songs? And the stage is really big, and the room is larger, and so there is definitely some nerves there.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about, I think it's important we touch on, not everybody knows what post-punk is. So let's just have a little educational moment for folks, and just describe what it is. Because in a way it's, obviously it comes off of concrete history, and it spins off of actual things, and there's actual just concrete things that we can describe, but there's a whole mood and vibe, and so after you talk about and just kind of define it for us, I want to then touch on the mood and the vibe of it. So I don't know, Dan or Dany, do you want to kind of just help give shape to that for people?
Yeah, I think it's very important, because when people that don't know what post-punk is, they hear post-punk and they think it's like something aggressive, something
scary.
Hard.
Yes.
Scary. You're like, post-punk was above punk already, is like, right? And it's funny because it's usually the total opposite.
Yes.
Right? And it's right. We can say the references that I, got into post-punk as a young girl was, of course, everything that we all know and love: Joy Division, The Cure, Susie and the Banshees, the Depeche Mode. They were all, they resemble of what you could say the 80s post-punk, right? And
Mhm.
whatever's going on right now is kind of, it's the revival of that, but I like to think that it has a little spice to it, because
Mhm.
all that 80s underground music, it's great, but sometimes there's like great songs that just there's something that just could have been a little better. They could have been a little more consistent. And I think post-punk now is that, whatever that 80s underground music was, it's
Mhm.
now like for me it's like the perfection of it, right? Molchat
Yeah.
Doma,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's cleaned up now.
it's
The,
clean.
the
Yeah.
the first wave of the bands we just that she just mentioned, it was almost like usually genres begin and the genre doesn't, like Nirvana didn't know they were a grunge band until
Right.
people told them they were a grunge band. The
Right.
Ramones didn't know that they were a punk band until a magazine said that they were punk.
Right.
And post-punk is no different. And I think that first wave, what she's saying, a lot of the bands would play longer songs, or there'd be a lot more experimentation, especially with the genius of The Cure. I mean, it's just so musical. I mean, it's almost, it feels like you shouldn't even give The Cure a genre, but I guess they're post-punk, but it doesn't really encapsulate, the full versatility of what Robert Smith is capable of. And what we have now is it's cleaned up. It's like polished. The songs are more linear. Basically what I like, it's more Ramones than ever now. And now it moves kind of straightforward. It's not as experimental. And I kind of like just like, hey ho, let's go,
Mhm.
1, 2, 3, 4.
And I also like to think that anybody can basically listen to post-punk. Like, you don't have to really be into rock or a scene in a specific to enjoy what a good post-punk song is, because it's
Mhm.
very background music at moments, like
Yeah,
anybody can really listen to it. I think
Yeah.
that's the important thing and the
yeah,
cool
it,
thing
it
about
can
it.
be subdued.
It can, yeah. And I think people will be surprised. That's why I really wanted you guys to touch on that, because I think a majority of people, if they didn't know what it was, would be surprised and they go, "Oh, but I love that." Okay, well,
Exactly.
congratulations. You like post-punk.
Exactly.
You know? Okay, so you're playing a show. It's cozy. Let's take like Urban Heat Show, because that just feels like that was a really important show for you guys, and that was a big deal show. And kind of probably really encapsulated what maybe you only dreamt of doing a couple months ago. So that's just freaking awesome that you got a chance to do that. So I want you just to picture the crowd there, and imagine for yourself sort of the avatar of your ideal kind of listener, your ideal concert goer, right? And you have a room full of those people. What is the feeling that they want from you guys? Like what's that kind of overall, when we go to a show and we love music, we want to feel something. And I think certainly from a post-punk band, there has to be some sort of subscription, right? Like I want to subscribe to what you're going to give me. What do you guys give to that audience of people that are just standing there so clearly hungry and so happy to hear what you have to offer? What is that transaction? What's happening? Do you know? You don't have to necessarily know, but maybe what do you think it is?
You want to take this one?
Yeah, well, I
Do you
know
know what I'm
one.
trying to say?
Yes, I do.
I know one element that we bring to post punk, and she says it in short form. She goes, "We bring the punk to the post," and that's a great, real short way to say that. But I'll expand on it just a little bit. What I saw, because I had to learn how to play guitar uh, to do the post punk style, whereas traditional punk rock and even pop punk, you're playing a lot of power chords and stuff like that. Whereas in post punk, you're playing a lot of single line progressions that are in contrast to what the bass guitar and what the synths are doing. And and I couldn't, I'm still me, even though I'm reinvented as a post-punk thing. Uh, I was always into bands and music that was, for lack of a less pretentious term, badass. And I wanted to bring a little attitude to post-punk because a lot of post-punk can be more artistic and subdued and almost loungy,
Moody, very moody. Yes.
moody. And for our first EP, I wanted to put a little pizzazz and a little bit of
stank on it.
a little stank on it. And it worked out. And that EP, that EP is out. I'm going to advertise our EP. The EP is called Post. There's 6 songs on it, including the smash hit single New Dawn Fades that we apparently didn't ruin. Thank you.
No, you knocked it out of the park.
And we're loving it, but you can hear it, and you almost touched on this earlier. When you listen to the EP, we actually released it, the tracks in the same order they were written and recorded.
Yeah.
So you can see like where it's going by the song Last Dance and Tirada on there. So it started off, you really hear the punk rock on the first couple songs, and then when Dany so with the first 3 songs, she said a little bit earlier, but I'm gonna expand on it, that I wrote them without really understanding the scope of her vocals, because we didn't hear a lot of singing, a little bit, but not enough. So I was basically writing lyrics to how I sing. And in the studio, I was basically prodding her to perform the way I wrote the song. But after several songs, and she did so well, I said, okay, this is sticking. It's like, throw things at the wall and whatever sticks. And Dragon Rapid, whatever we're doing, it's sticking, right? And I was like, okay, Dany, now you talk about your natural voice and that you want to write lyrics in Spanish. This next song, Tirada, tell me exactly how you want it to go. What kind of sound? And I'm going to take the training wheels off on this 3rd song and let you ride the bike and see what happens with it. And it is our most popular song, the one that she has the most to do with. And it's telling. I like things. I like successful things. And so we're really looking forward to creating this next album that we're beginning writing and continuing with her vision. She had the vision from the beginning, but to see her grow into being able to put it into application.
Yeah, well, I mean, good Lord, it's like you've just started. Like, you're doing just fine, Dany. Like, good God Almighty, yes.
I'm doing the thing again, aren't I, guys?
But going back to the question, it's like I really think that we get people, we get them, they're caught off guard whenever they see us perform. This is the impression I get, because at the end, honestly, when we look at it the way it is, there's actually 3 front people up there.
Yeah.
Dan used to be a front man. I am the front woman right now, and Jenner is the front man. So at the end, it's like 3 front people that we're, that is just like, I've gotten so much, whenever we finish playing shows, people come up to me, they're like, oh, we were just coming into the bar to get a drink, and then we were like,
we were,
what is this?
Assaulted by the sound.
What? And especially when Tirada comes out, right? Because we're just like punk and then, okay, this song is in Spanish. Here we go. Boom. And then, boom. And then she doesn't even have an accent singing it. So it's like, who is this girl? It's like, so I think we cause a lot of not confusion, but just kind of like get people off guard because they think they're expecting something and they get something else.
Which is what I love, because our brains want to make sense. And, you give that to us. You give us the resolution. You give us the good ingredients of a song. You guys write and play wonderful songs. I mean, they are beautifully written. They're beautifully composed and arranged. So it's like, check, check, check. But I love, like, the other day I saw you post on Instagram and I was like, oh my gosh, you're playing like in a 7-Eleven. Like, what? Yes, do more of that, because that is what I love about you guys are doing that right. Like, keep me on my freaking toes. Never let me get comfortable with what are these guys going to do next? Like, seriously.
So you can't, you can't just say 7-Eleven or convenience store or mini market without wanting the story.
Right. Well, of course you have to tell the story, but I just want people to know that, like, yeah, you do keep us guessing. And I hope you continue to do that. I feel like this guy Harvey's going to make sure that you do it.
No, actually, Harvey's going to make sure this story gets told, because this is when we're out and about and mingling with our peeps and stuff. He loves to talk about Friendly Rio mini market. He got such a charge out of that show.
All right, tell us the story.
All right. Well, before I get to that, let me just say this too about their music, because I'm also a fan. Like, that's how I got into being their manager, because probably like you, I started with them from the beginning. I loved it. And we were looking at our Spotify Wrapped versus mine, and it said that, our listener is the adventurer. And I think that this conversation that we're having here, it really does, encapsulate the thing that you get when you're looking for Dragon Rapid is just entertainment, is to be caught off guard, is an adventure, right? I mean, that's what our name is, Dragon Rapid. It sounds like an adventure, right? So yeah, just copping that off there. So Friendly Rio, this was an interesting gig, because we had the Paper Tiger, and then so many other gigs began popping up, and one of the gigs that was that we were asked to play was at a convenience store. And I remember just us looking at each other like, are we really going to play this? Like, is this real? Like, how would this even happen? So, I get over here on my phone, I'm looking up on Instagram, and I see a full band of drums, a guy rocking out on guitar in the middle of,
Frozen section.
Yeah, right. Yeah, in the middle of the Frozen section. Yeah, there's like Slim Jims, Mountain Dews everywhere. And I was like, we got to do this. Like, we just have to. This is the most like punk rock thing ever. And Dan said to me, he's like, that's something that Dave Grohl said, is like, play every show you possibly can.
I remember telling that to you guys.
Yeah.
I said, because we were like, okay, because there was no frame of reference. So it's like, so is that a real thing? Is that how are they going to do the sound? There was like some questions. And I just remember watching an interview or Dave Grohl giving words of advice. It might have even been one of those YouTube shorts. And he said that, the greatest advice I ever give to bands that want to go somewhere with their music, they ask me, what do I need to do, Dave, like to get my music out there and to become the best thing that we can become? He said, play every show. And that's exactly what reverberated in the text that we were doing. It was like, well, Dave Grohl said to play every show. So if we get invited to play a mini market, we're going to make damn sure it's going to be one of the most ruckus mini market shows that we could possibly put on. But if you mosh, you're going to break the Doritos.
You break it, you buy it.
It's been our most fun show by far.
It has this charm on it that we can't shake. It was one of the most rewarding. We've already been so blessed to have these rewarding experiences, but that one stands not out or higher or lower, but stands apart from the other experiences that we had. And we love talking about it. And Mike made a TikTok out of it that just, I still enjoy. I get such a kick out of it, watching him walk through the door and walk to the right. And there's Dany just like dancing. And
I mean, the lights, and then the refrigerated section behind you, and like the perfect like shelves. And I was like, those are my guys. Like, good job. It's such an Austin thing to do too. I think you really made a great choice playing that show. It was really, really cool.
We loved it.
We got paid $20.
No, and I'll tell you this too. It was really crazy because like it was pretty much free show. We got paid $20. But here's a little lesson for other bands. If you're getting started, right? I'll drop some Harvey Lee knowledge on you instead of Dave Grohl, but it's similar. Always bring merch. Because I was remember asking Dan, I was like, man, do you think we're gonna sell anything? And I was like, screw it. We actually sold a lot of merch at that show. So we got
Yeah.
paid more in merch at that show than we did get paid for the show. So always
Yes.
bring merch, even if it's a small
Yes.
show.
And I joke there because it was a free show. We were not expecting any compensation whatsoever. We just wanted the experience of playing live, and just randomly to have the Dragon Rapid Venmo signal like 5 days later. It's like ding, like payment. I look down and it's from them. It was $20. I'm like,
Cool.
cheers.
Perfect.
Totally unexpected.
Oh, it's so punk rock. That's your split from the Slim Jims and the Mountain Dew.
Yeah, right.
I love it. Oh, you guys, I'm so excited for you. I feel like I just feel like you're doing the right thing and it's coming from the right place. And the good news is that as you discover yourselves even more, the discovery process sounds so good. So keep doing that and don't think that you have to be anywhere other than where you are. It's why I wanted to have you on a year ago, even, because I think you're good where you are. Keep climbing, keep discovering, and keep writing those awesome songs. But just remember, it's not really about any kind of other place that you need to go. It's really about the now. And you guys, your nowosphere, Daniel. your now is so fun to watch and listen to. So keep creating that now for us and keep rocking. And I cannot wait to come to a show. I'm so excited.
Thank you very
Let's,
much.
before we wrap, let's talk a little bit about, because we're, coming to the end of a really magical 2022 for you guys. And 2023, I'm hearing through the grapevine, is going to be pretty awesome as well. I can't even imagine what's going to happen to you guys. Please remember me. Remember us, little people.
Always, of course. And we will be back soon.
Don't you
Hey,
have...
I remembered you from way back when.
I know. Aren't you playing the Mohawk? I saw Peter Hook and the Light at the Mohawk. Are you going to play at the Mohawk in 2023? Is that true?
Yes. On February 15th, it's a Wednesday night. They gave us the night. And I just talked to the promoter and he said, gave me some dates to choose from. And I said, well, I want to bring our friends Haunt Me from San Antonio to headline, and we're going to play, and we're going to have one other band, it has a TBD, to be determined.
Yeah.
But we're really excited about that because Mohawk is
It's a great venue.
the word seminal. It's a seminal. Is that the right word?
Sure.
Venue in Austin.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Excited for that. Yeah.
Awesome. Any final things you want to say before we wrap it up?
I'll say this on this note: we're living in the nowosphere. We're living in the post era. Not like it's over with, but that's the name of our EP, the post era. It's called Post. So we're living in the post era right now. We're going to be continuing to promote that EP, play that music, while also continuing to write new music for a brand new album. And I think we're all very excited to see Dany's vision become completed in that album.
Be ready
to see it progress.
I just really want to say to everybody, just stay tuned, because a lot of things are coming on 2023, and we're bringing it. We're really bringing it.
Yeah, you are. Well, I mean, you've already brought it.
All right.
All right. Dragon Rapid, thank you so much for coming on. It's such a pleasure. It went by way too fast. Yeah. So we'll have to have you on again, give us when you're all big and famous, and
of course,
it's being weird. All right. Well, stay tuned. I will promote your shows. And so everyone stay tuned. You could follow Dragon Rapid on Instagram at your handles at Dragon Rapid, right?
Dragon_Rapid.
Dragon_Rapid. So that's the best place to kind of keep an eye on what's happening and what's coming up. Also, follow me and I will promote it as well. And until next time, Dragon Rapid, I'm Kat, your host, and we will see you next time.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Namaste, namaste, Nanaki-sa.
I love it.